Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Oberiri Naemeka Onyeka. Somebody asked me that the federal government, to air my view on the intended audit of NNPC Ltd by the federal government. The federal government has indicated intentions to audit the NNPC because of the criticism of the World Bank. The World Bank group, they've come out to clearly state that the NNPC has not really shown good faith and transparency and accountability in disclosing their revenues and the impact of the removal of petroleum subsidy. Partially, of course, because today, if Nigerian petroleum industry is fully regulated downstream, PMS will not be selling anything less than 750 naira. That is another topic altogether. Now, the question is, somebody asked me, what is my opinion about this? Let us stop deceiving ourselves. Whatever audit exercise that the federal government of Nigeria is going to carry out at the NNPC will turn out nothing new. Nothing will come out of it. Somebody cannot prove himself and still bring out credible reports. We've maintained and we'll keep on repeating it. For NNPC to be efficient, for NNPC to be transparent and accountable, for NNPC to attract massive investment in the whole value chain of the oil and gas sector in Nigeria, then the NNPC as a corporate entity, limited, should actually be made to be in practice a limited liability company through divestiture of the federal government of Nigeria, divestment of the holdings of the federal government of Nigeria, 60% at least from the whole asset holdings of the NNPC. It's estimated today that the NNPC own assets worth over $60 billion across the whole value chain, upstream, downstream, JV holdings with the IOCs and all the other petroleum shared contract and whatever. But let me tell you this, for Nigerian oil and gas sector to be transparently run, for us to inject transparency and accountability, we must turn the NNPC to work in the same structure as the Nigerian liquefied natural gas, NLNG. Today, NLNG is owned 51% by private sector groups, while the federal government of Nigeria owns 49%. So you could see good corporate governance, you could see accountability, you could see transparency in all their operations. And that is the only public corporation in Nigeria that annually brings us dividends that can be seen and that can be touched. So today, we have said it. Look at Petrobras. Look at Petronas of Malaysia. Look at even the Saudi Aramco. Look at all the other government-owned oil corporations. Aramco the other day went to the market to do an IPO to bring in transparency. Aramco brings in annual profits of almost about $1.8 billion. British Petroleum used to be a wholly public-owned corporation before they divested and brought in, they brought in private sector participation. Today, British Petroleum, wholly private sector driven, brings in profits of almost tens of billions annually, dollars. The other day, 2-3 years ago, the NNPC GMD, Melekare, told us gleefully that annually, on a monthly basis, Nigeria lose about $1.9 billion worth of crude oil to thefts and inefficiencies. That's $22 billion down the drain. Imagine what it can do to our economy. 2 years after he made that confession, nothing has changed. The same theft, the same production inefficiency. Angola had overtaken us as one of the biggest oil producers by terms of output on a daily basis. See, guys, let us stop deceiving ourselves. The World Bank rightly listed out rightly called out the NNPC. But for us to fix that behemoth, we need to do the right things. Most presidents in Nigeria from 1999 till now has always seen the NNPC as an opaque cash cow that we used to manipulate and do whatever they want to do. Buhari was Petroleum Federal Commissioner under Obasanjo from 1976 to 1978. I'll be 79. When he became president, the first thing he did was to corner the NNPC. Of course, we saw what they did with him and the late Mike Antibaru and the rest of them. The greatest haste that was committed against this country was done over the last 8 years. I don't know what President Tinubu wants to do with NNPC, but the truth of the matter remains, if we want to make the NNPC work, the federal government of Nigeria cannot own NNPC 100% and still be talking about audit. They know what is happening there. What do they do? Simple solution. NNPC must divest 60% of its holding, bring in private sector investors, just like we have the NLNG, to own 60%, and then bring in corporate governance into that sector. Let me tell you 3 things that will happen. There will be massive inflow of investment across the whole value chain in oil and gas sector. There will be transparency and accountability, and then we'll be able to account for the revenue that comes to NNPC annually. So as long as NNPC is owned 100% by the government through the Federal Ministry of Finance, the president determines who becomes who becomes what, who becomes the GMD, who becomes ED. We'll be wasting our time trying to pronounce audit or whatever. That is the truth. Look around you. You cannot reinvent the wheel. NNPC, to be efficiently run, to embrace corporate governance, to bring in massive investment in that sector, must be unbundled holistically. Federal government of Nigeria, through the Federal Ministry of Finance, must divest 60% of their holdings to private sector investors, possibly mostly local oil and gas operators. That is the only way. Look at LNG. Why is natural gas working? Why is it the only dividend? Why is it, the other day they say they are going to securitize the future revenues of the LNG, our dividend receivables, future dividend receivables, and they use it to borrow $7 billion. Why is it so easy for them to even contemplate that? Because they know the Nigerian liquefied natural gas is properly run. Even lenders looking at the structure of the organization, the transparency and accountability, will be willing to lend money to Nigeria against future anticipated dividend payment that will be coming to Nigeria. That is the only reason why a lender will consider lending money to Nigeria against future dividend payment that will be coming, because they know that LNG. The same people that are planning to go and borrow against it have not deemed it fit to unbundle the NNPC to operate within the same fine line structures at the NLNG. Let nobody deceive you. There's nothing they are going to do. All these things are just paper, just let us fulfill all righteousness. The World Bank had called them out. Now the next thing you will do, that they will impile an audit committee that will just do and then nothing comes out of it. Simple. Unbundle the NNPC. Divest federal government holding, sell 60% to private investors, mostly local investors, not foreign investors. Then you will see massive transformation. You will see oil output move from the current mega level to about 2.53 million to 4 million barrels a day. And that is the truth. Beelzebub cannot cast out Beelzebub. Devil cannot cast out Beelzebub. That's the truth. Bandits cannot probe bandits. Let us stop wasting our time here. They know what they are doing. They are trying to deceive you guys. Thank you. God bless you. I remain in the God bless.